Enhancements v5.18 and v5.19, room diary expansions, new multi-currency features, and more, presented by StaynTouch implementation consultant Tyrus McGlone. I'm your host, Erin Fisher, the content writer here at StaynTouch. Today's presentation will cover how you can get the most out of the Rover v5.18 and v5.19 product release. In this webinar, we will explore updates to the display of rate codes, identify the payment rounding factor, demonstrate continued expansions to custom exports, discover new reports added to scheduled reports, explore a plethora of new features added to the room diary, identify expansions to contracts, discover new multi-currency features, and illustrate the ability to store registration cards. We will have a short Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Feel free to submit questions throughout the presentation, and we will answer them in the order they are received at the end. And that's all I have right now. Tyrus, I'm going to hand the presentation over to you.
All right, thank you, Erin.
Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties getting it switched over to Tyrus. One second. All right, here, let's just pull it up on my screen because I can't get it over to Tyrus.
And if you can go ahead and log in for me under yours, and I'll go ahead and.
All right.
All right, thank you, Erin. Again, sorry about that technical malfunction, everyone. So as Erin mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and go over a review or some of the features for the release of 5.18 and 5.19. All right, so getting started, one of the first things we have implemented is adding the rate code to the actual rate list. So if I go here to my hotel here, I'm going to simply go to the menu option, settings, and I'm going to go to rates. Now, as many of you may know, the rates tab here, we used to only show the actual rate name. In order to see the actual rate code, we actually have to go into the rate itself and go to rate details. Now we have added the ability to show the actual rate code just underneath the rate name here. One other thing we have added is the ability to search for actual rate code here. So for example, if I wanted to type in, let's say BPO.
Hold on, is anyone seeing my screen? Yeah, hold on.
Apologies, everyone. Looks like we're still having some technical difficulties with the panel here.
All right, there we go.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Erin. All right, so just to recap, we've now added the ability to go in and show the actual rate code on the rate screen here. So for example, if I have all of my rates listed, I actually have the code which falls underneath the actual rate, the rate name or rate description. I can also use the search functionality here to go and search for the actual rate code versus using the name of it. So if I know the code by heart, let's just say BP2. that's going to be the breakfast package number 2 that comes up. So one of the cool, like I said, one of the cool unique functions that we've implemented, we've had a lot of feature requests about this. So happy to say that it's now out and working to its expectation. One of the next features is going to be the group Proforma. So I'm going to open up here a different environment. Let's get into enter credentials for me. The dev environment. All right, perfect. Thank you, Aaron. All right. All right, so this is just a different environment for us, but I'm going to show you the actual group functionality and the Proforma. We actually introduced a few new things for Proforma Invoice a few weeks back. However, we've also updated our functionality for us. So I'm just going to go to a group here inside of our property. And I've actually built this group under Aaron's name. Looks like things seem to be going really slow today. All right, here we go for Aaron's group. Now, one thing about the group functionality, we've actually added the add-on notes to the actual group Proforma invoice. As many of you may know, roughly about a year ago or even 6 months ago, we never had the Proforma invoice for groups. We implemented that recently, and now we've added the functionality of showing taxes on it, as well as any add-ons that are added at the time of building the group. So when I built this group here, we have two add-ons here. We have the add-ons of add-on A and pure add-on. If I go to the actual transactions tab, I'm going to simply click on the invoice here, and I'm going to choose my bill layout, which is going to be Proforma invoice. Now, keep in mind, whenever you're doing an invoice, it's always going to default to detailed bill, but I'm going to simply switch this to Proforma invoice, and I'm going to hit print. All right, so I'm going to zoom in here, and as you can see within the bill, let's see, it looks like the bill is not showing for you guys either. Again, I apologize. It looks like some of our screens are not showing. Okay, so within this one feature here, if you were to have add-ons added to the group, those add-ons will be displayed within the group Proforma invoice, as well as any taxes that would be affiliated with that group. When we started the group Proforma about a month ago, taxes were not reflecting, and I actually had a question about that. So I'm happy to say now that taxes are actually reflecting on that group Proforma. All right, next is going to be the payment rounding factor. So I'm going to simply go here to another reservation inside of this property. Let's just back it up to, let's say, June, and I'm going to do confirmation number 101483. All right, so I'm going to go to one of my reservations here, and just to give you a brief synopsis of what the roundup means, if you were to post a specific charge code to an actual reservation, because of the decrease in currency for using 1 cent, pennies, or 2 cents here in the States, we've actually added a roundup up to 5 cents, or a roundup of 5 cents actually. So I'm going to go here to a bill. All right, so within this bill, you'll see that there was a parking charge posted to this guest bill of 2302. We also have charge for drinks of $34. However, with that extra, we basically have an offset charge code, basically rounding up to an even amount of 57. Now, in order to get to these settings, I'm going to simply go to the menu option. If you guys choose to have this turned on, I'm going to go to menu settings. It's going to be a part of the backend financial settings configuration. Again, apologies about the speed of today's webinar. Seems to be a lot of connection issues here. All right, so I'm going to proceed and go to financials and then financial settings. And at the bottom here, the bottom right hand corner, we have this option that says payment rounding. So I basically toggled this on. Again, you can round it up to 5 cents, basically, or round it to 5 cents. I don't want to say up to as if you can do, 3 through 5, but you can round it to 5 cents, which is the factor. And if you choose, you can actually associate it with the actual charge code. Again, just as I showed you on the guest bill previously, in case the guest is wondering where the extra 2 cents or 3 cents is coming from, you can actually have a charge code to associate with it, and you can even include it on the guest bill. Again, this will establish pretty much an even rounded payment for any guest. All right. Next, I'm going to show you some new custom exports that we have added to our system. So many of you, you ask about adding new exports or schedule exports daily. So if I go here to my reports and I go to schedule report export, I am going to go to schedule exports and schedule reports. All right, and we've added daily productions. If I go to the custom exports and schedule that, go new export. We also have new data fields, adult and children in the stay column. So I'm just going to open stay here, and in select fields, again, we've added adult and children. So I'm going to scroll down here. Hopefully you guys can see my screen. I'm going to scroll very slowly. All right, and we have adults and children that have been added as also new data fields inside of the custom export. Again, a part of the actual custom exports, we have daily transactions, which are also now available. Next, I'm going to go to and show the actual room diary. A few updates we've added to the room diary's ability to kind of see nightly reservations. But we've also, of course, added the ability to go to stay card and unassigned room and assigned room for nightly reservations that do not have an assignment. So I'm going to simply go to front desk, room diary.
And sorry for the technical difficulties today.
Again, apologies again. Things seem to really be low on our network here. I'm going to try a different environment. Let's see the dev environment. All right, this seems to work a little better. All right, so now we have unassigned reservations here in this column. So I have young Noel. If I were to click on either of these reservations here, we now have the ability to go to the stay card, as well as, of course, assign these reservations if there are new ones assigned. Again, the stay card option does pop up here in the far left-hand corner near the actual room screen. And then, of course, if I wanted to assign this guest, I have the privilege of assigning to either the room type PARV1 or PARV3 if I needed to assign this particular guest. All right. It looks like that's roughly the end of today's features. Erin, I'm going to go ahead and hand it back over to you for any questions.
All right, thank you, Tyrus, for that insightful presentation. Again, I apologize everyone for the technical difficulties. All right, so I would now like to turn over the floor for questions. Remember, you can submit questions through the question box in the middle of the control panel. So let me pull these up. All right, so the first question is, are the new scheduled exports available in CSV?
They are those new schedules. So the daily transactions, all of those are available in CSV format.
Okay. And then.
And my apologies. It looks like we had a few questions about the viewing, but that was rectified. So my apologies again for not being able to view the screen earlier.
All right. And as it seems there aren't any more questions. All right. So in this webinar, we explored updates to the display of rate codes, identified the payment rounding factor, demonstrated continued expansions to custom exports, discovered new reports added to scheduled reports, explored a plethora of new features added to the room diary, identified expansions to contracts, discovered new multi-currency features, and identified the ability to store registration cards. As always, if you have any additional questions, feel free to email me at erin.fisher@shitygroup.com and I'll respond to your questions there. Thank you again for your patience and have a good afternoon.